Howdy! I wanted to go over a few examples for the final project. And you can see this example. This person used an animated background, which I thought was really nice, and it coordinated with the name of our project, which was the Texas Bluebonnets Community College. So I thought this was really creative and really nice. And you'll learn how to do this in the LinkedIn Learning Training. Okay. Want to point out that one of the requirements is to disable the arrow keys on the keyboard. So I have to use my mouse to click here. I can't use the arrow keys. Here's his introduction slide. Okay, it's very well done.
Howdy, I'm Colin Christian, a senior at Texas A&M, where I'm currently working on a bachelor's in technology management with a business minor. I've graduated from Blinn College with an associate's degree, and I've created this training presentation for you so that you may understand how to dress appropriately and prepare for a professional interview once you've graduated from college.
So this opening slide met all the requirements, of course, but it was great because the design is really nice. You see, he carried forward the theme here of the Texas Bluebonnets Community College. He narrated his slide, which was nice. We got some audio in there because you have to use a lot of multimedia. So just on this one slide, I mean, we're talking animation, audio, text, some pretty good design. Okay, so that's a good example of the intro slide. Here's his next slide.
The controls for this learning program are as follows. You will see a set of arrows at the bottom right of your screen. These are your navigation arrows. We want you to learn the material instead of just clicking through. So some of these arrows are on time limits, while others require you to answer questions correctly before continuing the training. These navigation tools allow you to go back and review material before taking practice quizzes and the final test for each module. These arrows will appear after each question to guide you to the correct material if you missed a practice question, or will let you continue once you've correctly chosen the answer.
Okay, so you also need to let the learner know how to navigate through your unit. And this was really nice in that he explained it. He has the text here. So I think that's a great introduction to how to navigate the unit. Okay, go to his next slide. Okay, here, let's put that on pause. So the first thing you're required to do is something that grabs the learner's attention. We call this Gagne Event 1. And this is where we need to do something to make the learner want to take our training. And I'll show you another one of these. This student decided to put a nice video on why they should do a job search. Okay, so that's a great way to get someone interested in why this is important and why to take your training. Okay. So next he gives us a nice course overview. And the design of this is very nice. I think the colors are great. The design's very nice. It's very attractive. And here he uses a cutout person. These are available through PowerPoint, and they're great ways to kind of accent your presentation and add some, interest. Okay, so that's pretty good. Next we go to the summary zoom slide. You're required to do a summary zoom slide. What that means, and you'll learn this in the LinkedIn training, is that you have different sections for your training. These are the clusters that you will develop in your instructional strategy. So this person developed 3 clusters. So for each cluster, I can click and go to that section. Okay, and then after I complete a section, it will come back to this summary zoom slide. So I can choose the next section, or I could choose to go back and review, the prior section. Okay, so let's choose the first section, dress attire module. This sort of tells us what's coming up in the module. Okay, so for these, you need to have 5 elements for each cluster, and these are on the checklist. So the first element is you have to tell us what the objectives are. This is nice because it has a visual image. So we have an image, we have the text, we once again have the consistent nice design. Okay, here he gives us an interactive activity. You're required to have one of these for every cluster. where the learner has to actually interact with your unit. The learner doesn't sit back and just be passive. They have to be actively involved. And these are great examples, he says, of professional dress, so we can kind of go through these. These are click boxes that he has programmed where when I click I get an image. And this causes the learner to be doing something. I'm interacting with the unit. Okay, so you're required to have this. Okay, then I go to his next screen. Now he has bad examples. A good way to teach is to give examples and give non-examples. So he gave us some examples. Here are some non-examples of what we shouldn't look like. Okay, so we can go through those quickly here to give you an idea. Okay, don't do any of these things in an interview, he's telling us. Okay, then we go to the next objective. In this objective he's going to be talking about body piercings and tattoos and jewelry and what you should and shouldn't do on interviews. So here are some examples he gives us. Once again, he's got a great use of image, great use of design, very clean, very nice. Here are some non-examples, again with images. Then we go to the next objective, which talks about hygiene. Okay, here he's put in a smart art graphic. It's not interactive, but it's still very visual, and it has an image as well. So that works quite well. This is the good examples. Okay, if we go to the next slide, he gives us the same format, but here with some non-examples, things that we should not do before we go on an interview. Okay, here's the fourth objective. This talks about the learner finding and obtaining a padfolio and how you go about doing that. So he's telling us what's a padfolio all about, what needs to be in there, what characteristics do we need.
Hi, in today's video I'm going to be discussing professional padfolio.
And this is a great example of his video that he did. You're required to do a 1-minute video where you're explaining something or telling a story or doing something. He chose to do sort of a picture-in-picture, but he used a green screen and then put his image into a screen capture that he did. So this is really creative.
Where to get them? First, let's start with the obvious. A quick Google search can lead to thousands of results, but let's try and narrow it down just a bit. I've chosen 3 different stores that you can go to find a professional padfolio for that dream interview that you've been waiting months for. Let's hop over to Google real quick and take a look. First, we have Amazon, and with a quick search, we can find...
Okay, so you sort of get the idea. I mean, you don't need to do something fancy like that. It can just be a regular video of you telling me something. Okay, so let's move on. Here's a practice exercise, also interactive. Select all 4 images of the correct choices. Okay, so what happens, I always test this, what happens if I choose something that isn't a correct choice? I get some feedback. Shorts are not a good choice at all. Plus I think the color is really good. The color goes, oh wait, stop, this isn't a good thing. Okay, so that's very good. Oh, here, so see, this one turns green because that's a good thing. Let's see, we can find them all. Oh, let's choose this one. Uh-oh, that's not one. Here again, I get the feedback. Choose that one. So he's giving me feedback for each one as I choose the image. Okay, so this is a great interaction. This requires the learner to, think about it and pick something. We have colors that kind of reinforce and images. That's a great interaction. Okay, so we're done with that module. Now we come back to the same page, the summary Zoom screen. And now I can go to the second one. which is research. Okay, so I go here. He tells me the objective. Here again we have an image. Here's an interaction, important organization facts. Okay, if I click on each one, it's telling me something that's important that I need to know about an organization before I go interview there. Okay, so that's a pretty good interaction. Here's another one, kind of the same sort of thing. I need to know all this. Okay, here's the second objective. Okay, and here's how to locate information about an organization. He has a hyperlink here, which is really good. That's somewhere additional. That's considered multimedia for our purposes, where the learner can go and get more information. However, please be careful. Hyperlinks cannot be your entire content. You personally need to be teaching it. Okay, so don't just put in hyperlinks or videos for that matter. You need some original content. This is really good. This is where not to get information. This is our non-examples. He says you don't need to ask friends, or Google sometimes not so good, strangers sometimes not so good. Okay, we go to the next objective. Okay, so for this one, he gives us an example of a company, his website, and has us, here's a hyperlink. He says, take a look here, and then we will, look at that. So go to the next slide. He has put information from that website here and asked the learner to kind of look at it. What information did you find? And the learner can go, yes, I found this information. And go to the next one.
Now that you visited the RubyCo website, what type of questions could you create based on the information that they gave you? We'll see that they're an area produce grower, but they also accommodate shipping, produce, and food services. They also offer logistics and expertise, so it shows that they're willing to work with other businesses. That would be a perfect opportunity to ask the interviewer about prospective partnerships and how you can help with that. RubyCo also offers social media platforms to follow them on, where you can get more information about the company, along with any emails to reach out to them if you have any more questions, which would be a perfect opportunity to clear up any information before that interview. They also offer their contact information for leaders in their business with their name, phone number, and email, so you can directly ask leaders in their organization questions and stand out as a prospective employee. There's so much more information on their website, like what produce they grow, along with sales statistics and nationwide reach. Go and see if you can find any more information that you think you can ask detailed questions about.
Okay, so that was a really good slide. I mean, that had the audio, and it was directing the learner to look at things and think about things, and it was a really good feedback to the learner actually doing that exercise before. Okay, so that was pretty good. Here's his practice. What are the main ways to get information? How about asking strangers? Okay, friends and strangers may have biased information. That's not correct. Okay, and when I look at your unit, I always go to the wrong choices just to see what it says. Okay, so let's try this one. Oh, and that's the right one. I get the green light. Yay! Okay, so you kind of get the idea. And here I come back to the third unit. So you kind of get the idea of how that works. And here's a second example I wanted to go through, just some parts of it. This student put the navigation instructions up front on the first slide, okay, for the learner to look at, which is good because now before I start the unit, I can review how to navigate through. Here's her information. Okay, nice picture, very professional looking. Okay, then she goes into her
Howdy, my name is Emily Temez, and
stuff. She goes into her Gagne 1 event, or how to get learners to be interested in our unit, and she chose to tell a personal story. Let's go back and listen to a little of this.
Howdy, my name is Emily Temez, and I am a Human Resource Development student at Texas A&M University. This summer, I am interning with Klein Independent School District in their Human Resource Services Department. Getting this job taught me a lot about my interview skills. In order to get this job, I had to be sure that I was doing my pre-interview tasks correctly. This meant dressing professionally and appropriately, wearing neutral colors, a dress or a blazer with dress pants, and
Okay, so you get the idea. She's kind of relating a personal experience that she had with going through the process. So her learners will now understand that and be motivated to go ahead and learn more of what she has to say. Okay, and she goes into her overview. This is interesting. This is her summary Zoom slide. So she has 4 sections. She also has a section for the terminal objective and a section for final assessment. Okay, so the summary Zoom slide, like I told you before, is where after each section it returns here, and then the learner is able to choose the next section or go back if they'd like. So let's say we choose her first one here, and you can see she chose to do her objectives all together versus the last example sort of had them individual. It's a matter of personal choice how you'd like to do that. And she included here
Hey ambitious professionals, it's Linda Rain.
a nice YouTube video, which is a requirement, so you kind of get the idea. But I'm just going to, let me go back. I want to show you something I didn't show you in the first one. Okay, if I can go back and find her summary Zoom slide. Let's go back there. And what's nice about hers, which I didn't show you, after, like if I went through this whole unit here and I came back here, there'd be a green check mark there. And that lets the learner know that they've taken that module. So I think that's a nice touch too. But I wanted to show you the final assessment. Okay, you're required to have a post-test. Okay, so this is what this student did for post-test. Okay, there are various questions. And you don't have to provide feedback for this because it's the post-test and that's sort of done at the end. So it's not like the learner needs feedback to continue learning. So I can just go through here, and she has a question for every objective section. Okay, which is very good. Okay, I don't know if these are right or wrong. I'm just going through clicking. Here's the end slide. Congratulations. Go ace your interview. Thank you for taking the time to take this module. So that's your ending. I also wanted to show you how the previous student did his ending. So I thought it was pretty interesting. So we'll skip all down through the slides. You see how many slides are involved in this. So this was after his post-test. This is what comes up. You've completed the training, you've gone over this, very motivating, good luck, and you're going to be a rock star sort of thing. And then I go here, it's saying I like the animation. Here again we have the background video, which is pretty cool. Just watch this all day. And then he goes back to that beginning slide, which I thought was pretty neat. Go back to the beginning slide. It kind of completes the whole loop. Okay, so those are some examples of what I'm expecting in the final project. If you have any questions, let me know. Also, a good strategy is to finish this a couple days ahead of time. Go through the checklist, make sure you think everything's there, and then let me have a look at it and give you some really quick feedback. I'd be more than happy to do that. So please remember to not stress out too much and have fun and be creative. Thanks.